Lauren, you actually always take notes. I know you do. I see you taking notes. I was just telling the girls, recommend taking some notes today. Okay, so we're basically going to do a follow-up from the checklist that Andrew went over last week. Were you guys all on that, or did you at least rewatch it if you weren't on it?
Yeah, I was on it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So basically, we want to start at once we've actually got the listing signed. So, we've gone on the listing appointment, we've sent out this thank you email, we've got all of our seller agreements signed. So what's next, right? When we go into a listing appointment and you get the business, it's awesome. Emotions are usually pretty high, clients are excited. The key with that is once you've got an agreement to work with somebody, you want to carry that momentum forward, right? Because they feel good, they're happy, they want to work with you. So we got to continue that momentum to get everything to the next step. So once it's all done, I don't know if you guys, I know some of you guys are aware of this, but there's this realtor cooperation and disclosure consent form. So before we were able to sign listings weeks or months in advance, and we could just put a term in the contract saying we're going to be listed by this date. Now we have to have listings live within 78 hours unless we have this form signed. So that's important that we get done because we might still have to get media done. We're getting photos, measurements, staging. It could be 2 or 3 weeks before something's actually going on the market. So we want to make sure that form is signed. For a refresher, this is what it looks like. Super easy form. They sign it, they date it, and then it's good to go. So that gets added to your listing contract. This basically gives you guys the ability to market the property off market. It's a disclosure telling the clients the risk of not putting it on MLS. Even though we are, this gives us that little grace period until we actually get it listed. Okay. So that's the first form. Um, Once that's done, we always want to book a staging consult. Okay. So this has been a game changer. I started doing this personally like 5 years ago, and Chaz in here. I started doing this personally 5 years ago, and we had a couple different stagers. So we always you have two different kinds typically. You have a stager that will do a vacant stage. So that means the house is completely empty. A stager's going to go there. They're going to do a consult with the client. They're going to bring in all the furniture, all the art, everything. Then you have other stagers that do occupied stages. So they work with the client's furniture that's already there. They give them feedback, they give them guidance. It could be stuff on cleanliness, it could be whatever. The key with that is it's always worth the investment because the stager is going to share with the client everything that they need to do. It allows you to focus on the real estate stuff. You're focusing on pricing and strategy and marketing. The stager is helping you on the presentation front. So usually when we're in a listing appointment, we're making recommendations and small staging guidance. When you bring that stager in, they reinforce what you've already said. And that is like one of the biggest game changers to like make your listing stand out. I can't tell you how many photos I see with personal hygiene products in the shower and random shit on the counter and a yard that's not cut and just stuff that is so easy to get done but just gets missed when there's like 100 other things for a seller to worry about, right? So we've got that staging consult book. We always use Donna Lee. She's awesome. And typically what I'll do is I will call Donna Lee, call, text her, email. If you call her, she'll take notes. Email's nice or text so it's documented. And just say, here's my client, here's what the house is like, here's a little bit of backstory. Can you schedule an appointment with them? She'll do all the heavy lifting. She'll schedule the appointment. You guys don't have to worry about stick handling it back and forth. And then she will go and meet them and she'll send you guys an invoice. I typically tell clients if you guys can get 90% of her list done, we're ready for photos. If you can get 100, even better, but if we can get 90, we're good to go. Donnelly will also bring in different staging pieces if your clients need to. So, for example, if the house is great, but it needs some art in a few rooms and maybe some decor pieces, she can then stage that. So, a smaller stage, and the clients can rent that stuff from her on a monthly fee, and it's pretty affordable. So I'll give you guys an example. Just showing you guys one here. So like this place in Tuxedo Park, it's pending. This place in Tuxedo Park, these guys they had no furniture, right? So like they're very minimalist. This house is way too big for them. But like all these little plant pieces, Donna Lee brought in. She brought in these art pieces, some accent pillows here. some little pieces in the kitchen, stuff for the dining table here, just little things that, make a difference. This little thing in the corner over here, this end table. So she brought in a bunch of stuff to, you know, bring it together. Not all clients have to do that, but this is a good recommendation if they need stuff done. Okay. So once the staging consult's done, we always want to make sure that our paperwork and stuff is organized, right? So again, as we transition into this new model where we're going to be running all the paperwork, we want you guys to get everything in so that it's done and you don't have to worry about it. It sucks when you have a backlog of like, oh, I didn't get the realtor disclosure signed, or I didn't get the amendment signed, or I got the land title wrong. Whatever, you want to have it all done so that you're ready to actually list it when it happens. This is what the checklist looks like. Let's see here. Okay, give an example on this one. There we go. Okay, so this is what the checklist looks like. So this is where we're going to be sending all of our documents. So we put your name, the property address, the seller name, the employment for FinTrack. I always get the FinTrack when I'm there on the spot. So if I get an agreement to work with the client, I'm getting their employment information and their position on the spot so that when I send the documents that are signed and the FinTrack stuff, then the TC team can get all that done and out of the way. Our target listing date, which we should be talking about in the appointment, price, who we're going to be using for media. We've got Sona, Zune, Elevate Media, whoever we want to use, we're going to put that in there. Lawyer, we might not know at this stage, and that's fine. So we put TBD right here. If the seller has a lawyer that they've worked with in the past and they want to continue to work with, I'll find that out when I'm in that appointment. But it could be TBD. Okay. Is there a list two agent on the deal? Is this a BRIX referral deal? Any special notes? And if there's an old MLS number available. This will allow Adam to go pull from that old MLS for what the siding type is or what the roof is or anything like that. Hi, Crystal's daughter. um, and we would be attaching all of our documents in here too, so that that's all done. Okay. Now this is a full file. It can get uploaded into Resin. A listing can be created in the back end. A listing can get started on Pillar 9 so that that's, ready and in queue for when we have photos and measurements and all that stuff. So some of this operational stuff is dealt with so we can focus on dealing with the client and getting the property ready. Okay. Okay, so we've got the template done. Next, we're going to want to book our photos, measurements, iGuide video. So you guys can decide how you want to run your listings, right? Like you guys are running your clients the way you want to. This is the process and this is how we do it and this is what works really well. Some agents invest less in their listings, some agents invest more. You guys spend your own money. It's up to you what you want to do. But I always recommend that you do a video, especially in today's market, because, and I think all of you guys do anyway. But we want to continue to do that because clients are expecting that now. Like it's just kind of a standard that if you're not doing one, another agent is going to. So we'll typically book the photos, the iGuide, the measurements, and the video. I never cheap out on floor plans. Some agents will get super cheap measurements that just show the outline of the house. We always get iGuide done so they have dimensions of each room, which is important. I know it sounds small, but it's important. The video, you're going to want to prepare for the video. Is it going to be something where you're talking? When you talk on a video, it helps you build your brand and your name, right? If you're not talking, that's fine too. You could look at doing a voiceover. You could do something more cinematic if you don't want to talk on it, but book those marketing assets and figure out exactly what we're going to do. 72 hours before media day, we want to make sure that everything is good to go. So typically that once you sign the listing, I usually have a bit of a waiting period between media day because the clients are working on everything to get the house ready, right? So you want to have touch points, ideally a couple phone calls, because if you can maintain phone call communication after you've signed a listing, you're just building the relationship with that seller, right? Like you're getting to know them a little bit better. You're helping answer any questions along the way. So you want to keep in contact. And then 72 hours, like, hey, are we still good for, photo day or media day on Friday at 10 a.m.? Well, no, I'm going to need a couple more days. My cleaners can't get in that day. Okay, well, now we're going to get that moved. So you can email the TC team, say, hey, Adam, can you please get photos adjusted? We need to book it on Monday at 10 a.m. now. Okay, so we want to make sure that our seller is ready to go for that. I always show up around 60 minutes before photos to go through everything staging related. I will fix stuff in a listing and I'll tell the seller, I'm like, hey, are you cool if I just move a few things around before photos? Yeah, no problem. And I always ask for the house to myself. Like, I don't want the seller there when we're shooting video and like moving stuff around. So I'll always say, hey, we're going to need, between 2 and 3 hours in the house to get all of our media stuff. And if you get permission from your client, it's okay to move their shit around, right? Like if there's still shampoo and conditioner in the shower, like take it out, stick it under the vanity, get a good photo, and then put it back after if you need to. But like don't be afraid to move some stuff around. Just get permission first, but do what you need to do to make sure that your photos and everything turn out as best you can. I have done crazy stuff. Like I've gone to a house this years ago and everything, nothing was done. I was there an hour and a half early. They had pots, pans, dishes, stuff to put away, clothes. I was there stuffing things in cabinets and drawers. They couldn't find anything because and they were working with me and they're like, sorry, we had no time. And it got done. It sold in 3 days. They couldn't find any of their shit for like a month because I stuffed it in places, but it looked really good. So just take the time to do that. This is very, very important, okay? And I can tell you guys a story on how I got burned on this as well. And I never had any issues in like almost 1,000 deals until one. So we need to have an RPR, stamp with compliance. This is so freaking important. Agents still skip this. When the market was busy, some agents were like, oh, we're just going to offer title insurance instead. You could get away with that a little bit because the market was super hot. You need to have that RPR now. So does everybody know what an RPR is? Okay. Do you guys all have a few companies to refer clients to get an RPR? Yeah. Okay. So the key with the real property report is we want to have it before closing. So what happens, for example, and I'm dealing with this right now, you list the house, they don't have an RPR yet, and the closing's in 30 days. So an RPR typically takes 2 to 4 weeks to procure, right? Just for the survey company to come and do it. Then they have to get it stamped with compliance from the municipality, whether it's Cochrane or Calgary or whatever. That could take another 2 weeks. And then if there's something on that RPR that makes it non-compliant, like an encroachment or something, it could then have to go back to the city for another 4 to 6 weeks. So if we don't have that RPR with compliance on closing date for the buyer to review, the buyer's lawyer is going to hold back. Could be 5 grand, could be 10 grand, could be 20 grand, and that those funds are not going to get released to the seller until they provide that RPR. So what happens if that encroachment advisory doesn't get accepted from the city? Well, now your seller is on the hook for potentially a $10,000 to $20,000 holdback, and you guys are going to get the shit end of the stick of that because they're going to be like, well, you should have given me more time or you should have advised me. It's very clear in the listing contract what it says, but you want to make sure that's done. My shitty story that I have is we had a property under contract. We had the RPR with compliance, but there was some encroachment on there that needed to get dealt with. And the way that the contract is worded for buyers, if it's not perfect, they can back out of the deal. So I had right before Christmas, this was last year, the or 2 years ago, the buyers didn't want to buy the house anymore. They used that RPR clause to get out of the deal. And even though it was firm and all their conditions were removed, they got their whole deposit back. So the seller didn't even get to keep their deposit. We had to relist their house. We had to give them the deposit back. We had to pay a bunch of money for the RPR. Thankfully, we sold the house again for a little bit more money, so it worked out. But that was just a really big shit sandwich for everybody, which could have been avoided if we gave a little bit more time. So it's just important to get that done. And if you guys look in the seller's agreement, this is what you guys sign with sellers. 6.1, provide us with a real property report showing the current state of improvements on the property. evidence of municipal compliance or non-conformance within 10 days of signing this agreement. So technically, we're supposed to have this signed with compliance within 10 days of getting this agreement signed. So if your client doesn't have one and you sign a listing and it takes a month, technically we're not in bounds here, right? So it's important to have this discussion like super early when they're like, yes, I want to work with you, and then we talk about this. That's super important. Okay.
Riley, can I
Any
ask a
questions on
question?
that?
Yeah, I've got a question.
Oh, give me one sec, Lauren. I just gotta get my AirPods. I can't hear you. What the hell? Weird. I don't know. Is it maybe your mic?
I don't think so. My
Emily,
mic
can you
is
hear
on.
Lauren? You can?
Yeah, I can hear Lauren, no
Okay.
problem.
One sec. Sorry, guys. Someone speak?
Hello, can you
There
hear
we
me?
go. Okay. Yeah, I'm good. Go ahead, Lauren. Sorry.
Okay, no, that's fine. So with this listing of mine, they had put in an AC after their previous RPR, and so they got an updated RPR. But now it's come back with and the shed. They put on a shed as well,
Yeah.
and now it's come back saying that everything's fine, but the shed is encroaching on the utilities line.
Mm-hmm.
So so I just wanted to find out, like I said to, okay, what is that okay? Like, do we say in the MLS listing RPR to be accepted as is, or do I change something there for the future buyers? Is there something specific like I need to do with regards to that?
Yeah, that's a good question. And it's not, is it under contract right now or no?
Not yet. No.
It's not. Okay. The shed is movable, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would, it's encroaching because obviously it's on that utility right of way. I would probably you could accept it as is, and you could put that in the remarks so that an agent who's representing their clients knows. And then you just want to let them know what it's for. It's that shed. What I would say then too is, if the buyer or the buyer's realtor is like, well, I don't like that. You need to get, we'll just say, okay, we'll remove the shed. That's fine. We'll get rid of the shed. And
Okay.
most people say, no, I want the shed. Okay, well, do you want the shed moved or do you want the RPR that doesn't have an encroachment on it? So if you were under contract, my answer would be different. So we just sold the duplex in Radisson, same thing, identical, AC and a shed. So we got it updated with compliance to add the AC and the shed. Shed was also encroaching on a utility right of way. We were already firm. Conditions were removed and it was like a 3 week possession. My client had to get the encroachment advisory stamped off from the city of Calgary, which costed like 200 or 300 bucks. It was fine. They agreed it. It's a money grab from the city, but they stamped it with compliance. They did a $10,000 holdback. The buyer did, and like 2 days, 2 or 3 days after possession, we got it, and then the funds got released. So, you know, I would say if you haven't sold it yet, you could also approach the city and say, hey, what's it going to cost to get this encroachment advisory stamped? And is the likelihood good that it's going to go through? Because then you don't have anything to worry about. You should be fine either way, but I think it's worth pursuing. It's probably with Cochrane, right? The
Yeah.
municipality. Yeah, I'd probably have a conversation to tell them to talk to Cochrane and just see if it's going to go through or just move it, right? That's because then it's just moved.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, so we did some RPR stuff. Now, disclosures are also important in condo documents. So I want to quickly touch on condo documents with you guys. So if we're listing a condo, technically we don't need to provide condo documents to a buyer until it's under contract, right? The buyer has a condition for condo doc review. We would provide them the docs at that point. I like to be prepared on everything. So I will get sellers to get most of the condo documents up front, right? When we actually sign the listing. So a disclosure statement is something that the property management company has to prepare that day. So that's not something we can order in advance. Things like reserve fund study, financial statements, bylaws, board meeting minutes, things that have already happened with the condo, we can get those documents in advance. You get them saved in a Google Drive file when your client sends them to you. And then all you have to do is order a disclosure statement when the condo goes under contract. This is also a really fast way to get agents to work with you good on condos. If I write an offer on a condo and I get the condo documents, 90% of them within 24 hours. I'm like, damn, that agent's organized. We can then get our condo doc review done right away, and it keeps the deal moving quickly. If you get your condo under contract and the agent's waiting 4 days to get condo documents and you give them nothing, again, we want to keep the emotion high through the transaction to keep things moving along quickly. Okay. Most clients have no idea where to get condo documents. You can go to condopapers.com. This has a lot of buildings in Calgary and surrounding areas if you look in here. Some management companies will provide the condo documents for free to the sellers. They might have a seller portal. For example, the Guardian Tower with Equium. Any building managed by Equium, they have a condo portal and they can get them for free from there. Disclosure statement costs about 150 bucks. That one always costs money. Sometimes clients can get them for free. So again, just a conversation to have up front before we're getting crazy on listing stuff. The disclosures are also important. So on this seller's agreement, it explicitly says right here, the 15.1, we always need to be asking these questions, right? Are you aware of any material latent defects? Yes or no? Do you know of any defects that would be expensive to fix? Yes or no? Have you received any government or local authority notices? And do you know of any lack of permits? So we always want to ask these questions either in person or on the phone, and then we get them filled out after. Okay. You will get bit in the ass big time if you skip this one. If there's a material latent defect and you didn't ask the question and the buyer goes crazy, you're going to get sued. So make sure you guys always ask these questions. Super important. Also, any upgrades or
I was
fixes have
just
been
gonna
done?
say with those ones, I also get them to sign off beside it. Like I'll get them
Yes,
to initial because yes, I've said it, but I want their signatures there. So that way it doesn't come back to bite me.
agreed.
So
I do the same. I do the same thing, and thank you for reminding me. That's 100%. It's a double acknowledgement, right?
yeah.
One other small thing on Emily's note, this is unrelated. If you're writing an offer unconditional with no conditions, always have your clients, you cross out the condition and you have them
Mhm.
initial beside it. That's acknowledging that they have no conditions, even though it reads that way. So just, we probably won't be writing a whole lot of unconditional offers in this market for a while, but just something to note. Any upgrades or fixes that have been done recently. Okay, this is going to save you guys a ton of time. So, what do agents call like when they look at your listing? Hey, how old's the roof? How old's the furnace? What are the upgrades? When were the windows done? When was the furnace replaced? Are there any damages? Like, who do they use for snow removal? Ask all these questions up front. Make a little list. You can either put that in a PDF document, put a nice brand on it, like put a BRIX brand on it, and then upload it into the supplements, or just keep it for yourself on standby so that when an agent calls you, it's like, hey, no problem, I've got all of that. I'm just going to email it to you. Again, speed of communication will get deals done on listings faster, right? If you get 5 showings and 5 inquiries with the same questions, either you have to call them 5 times or you can email it all to them. And then if someone is more keen, then you can follow up with them on a phone call, right? So this just expedites your process and keeps things a bit smoother. Ensure agreement on communication frequency. So whenever I'm sitting down with a seller, I always get all the decision makers' contact information, name, phone number, email. I also get all of their work schedules. I want to know when they have free time and when they're busy. So, for example, those clients in Tuxedo, they're a little bit younger, they're in tech, they like to text. That's what they like. Like, I'll call them if I really need to, but I just text them because that's what they want. I've got them in a group chat. I know that they work 9 to 4 most days, and weekends they have off. I also want to, again, establish some cadence. So I say, hey, you're going to receive an update from me every Friday with all the showings, all the feedback, my recommendations, what's going on in the market. If there's something urgent, I'm going to let you know about it right away via text or whatever we decided. Okay. Some older clients, they might prefer email, right? They might want an email once a week and then a follow-up phone call. So again, establish that up front so you can communicate with them how they want to be communicated with, and it also keeps things smooth and moving. Okay? We all good so far? Okay. So this one's important too. So verifying listing details prior to launching live in MLS. Okay, so our TC team will upload everything for you. They're going to put in all the measurements, they're going to put in the title, they're going to upload all the photos. If there was an old MLS, they're going to take that, they're going to put what the siding type is, what the foundation is, what the flooring type is. Some of those things could have changed though, because if they bought it 7 years ago and they've done upgrades, those are not going to be relevant anymore. So once Adam has my whole listing up, I still go through it with a fine-tooth comb. I go through each individual piece in there. I'm just gonna show you guys so you guys can get a visual. Let's actually do one that's coming up. So here's a listing that's upcoming. It's a townhouse in Ogden. There's nothing really in here yet because I haven't given Adam anything. We don't have photos or anything done. But once everything is up in here with all of my media assets, I'm going through each one of these line by line. So I start with address, make sure this is all correct. I look at this map and make sure that it's plotted in the right location. I make sure that everything is right on structure, right? Is the floor plan correct? Is the foundation concrete or wood? Like, what is everything in here? And then I'll also do a quick proof on the rooms. So once I've got, Adam will put in everything here for room dimensions and measurements, and it's usually always 100%, but I always spot check it because people make mistakes, right? Maybe the bathroom was labeled as 4'3" by 5 foot when it was supposed to be 5'2", right? So just double check all your rooms and everything is good in here. You want to go into your photos and you want to arrange them properly. Again, Adam's going to arrange them in advance. I still make a couple little modifications because maybe I don't like a couple photos in there and I want to delete them. Maybe the green space is really important because that's a cool feature and I want to have that in the first 5 or 6 photos instead of right at the end, right? So make sure that this is all updated and nice and clean. I'll usually go through one by one and fill everything out. And then when I'm done, I'll go back to the top. I'll do one more scan of everything, make sure it looks good, and then we go live. Okay. Couple important pieces. If you're going to do open houses right out of the gate when you list something, put them in right now. Like just get them in as an open house and get them ready to go. If you're going to list it on a Tuesday and you're going to open house it on the weekend, you might as well bring it to market with the open houses in there ready to go, right? The other thing too that we're probably going to incorporate and just get this done for you guys. But something to note is when you're in the listing itself, make sure that you've gone into showing time and you've set the clients up on showing time. So I click on showing time. I add the owner and occupant. So it's just right here in the corner. And I'll put in all of their information in here. Okay, so name, phone number, email, address, husband and wife. They will now see all the showings that come in. They're gonna have to download showing time, but they can see and approve showings. Something that I also do is I'm also gonna check this timing right here. So if it's a condo, people don't need an hour. I'm gonna set this to 30 minutes, most likely for timing. So if I know it's gonna be busy, you can modify the showing times. You can also put lead times. Maybe the clients have 2 young kids and they're like, we can't do any showings unless we have 3 hours notice. Put in the 3 hours notice in here so you're not dealing with bullshit and it's already done, right? And then another thing I always add in here, these are showing instructions. So when you book a showing, you'll get the showing notification on your phone. If an agent puts instructions, they'll be in there. 90% of agents don't even put showing instructions. It's just lazy. It's easy to put in here. Please shut off all the lights. Please lock the doors. The front door is sticky. Make sure you pull it towards you and hold the deadbolt. If you have any issues with parking, this is where you can go. If you have any offers or questions, please contact me at this phone number or this email. Like, put the extra stuff in there. More detail is better in a listing than less. So we want to utilize all these little tools that we have. Okay. So we got remarks, title, and other relevant documents. So again, it's important to, have everything in the listing. We always have the title, the floor plans. If you have an upgrade sheet, that's a really good thing to put in the supplements. If a seller has written you a letter, Cindy and I have been doing that lately, like a letter from the seller, especially someone who's been living there for a long time. It's really emotional and it's good. Like it creates, some emotion around the house versus just dollars in a house. So that's another good thing to include in supplements. And then obviously install lockbox and order for sale sign 72 hours prior. So again, Adam will do this for you guys. He'll order the sign, get it rocking. You need to make sure that you go and put that lockbox up, a couple days before. And I'm usually getting the key when I sign the listing, generally. Or if you haven't got it that quick because they don't have a spare, you pick up the key on the media day, right? So you say, hey, I need the house for 2 or 3 hours. Make sure you leave me a spare key outside. I'll put the key in the lockbox, get it installed, get all of our media stuff done, and then my lockbox is good, my sign's installed, all of our media stuff's in queue, getting edited, and then we're ready to go. Any questions on that? Pretty straightforward. Okay. Okay, this is where it gets like important and detail oriented. A lot of that stuff was like ops, but this is going to be more of the marketing stuff and stuff to make sure that your listings are selling. A recommendation, do not skip any of this stuff because this is what will allow you guys to sell listings. I know agents in this market right now that are not even taking listings. They're like, no, we're not taking listings right now. Like it's just things aren't moving. I think that's bullshit. Every listing we've taken in the last 3 months, we've sold. Like, why would we not be taking listings? If you're doing it properly, you're still going to sell. As an agent, you always want to have inventory. Inventory creates leads, inventory creates brand, inventory creates social media posts. You always want to take inventory. Okay, it's very important. So 48 to 72 hours before, we want to do some kind of coming soon teaser. So again, we can market properties prior to 72 hours. Okay, so get a teaser post ready to go. Kat can make it also, and get that out there. Just get some people excited. Even if only 100 people look at it, it's 100 people more than not, right? And all these little things start to add up. So this is a little teaser. Then we want to create and order the following for a home launch. So figure out what you want to put in the house. Okay, there's different things you can do. What we've been doing lately is we get a nice, what's the word? Emily, what's the word? Not chloroplast, that plastic stuff. There's a word for it.
Sorry, what was that?
Like a
Sorry.
brochure, like that plastic thing that stuff sits in
Oh,
from Staples. What is that called? You
just like, oh gosh, now I,
guys know
Folder.
Like an acrylic
yeah,
I'm
thing,
talking
acrylic stand.
about.
well, froze up
A
there.
way to just,
Is it
oh,
like one of these things?
Yeah.
yes, that's perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So get something like that set up in the house, and you can do a few things. Like we have kids printouts for coloring, right? Which you can put there. Those are good for open houses. Have some business cards there. If you guys have a gnome or candle, like some kind of little treat, it doesn't need to be super complicated, but it's just something different. Again, if a buyer walks into 5 different properties and yours is priced well, it's clean, it's staged well, it's inviting, the agent has made some effort to present their listing in the best light. It just creates a subtle thing for realtors and also their clients. So again, all these little things add up. Put listing live on MLS, obviously pretty self-explanatory. We want to do a freshly listed post with carousel photos. You have 50 images for the property. You might as well, do a nice carousel post on everything. And you could even do bonus points if you wanted to add some subtext on each image on that carousel post. For example, I don't know, second photo it backs onto green space. You could have a subtext there that says backing onto Fish Creek Park or backing onto Bow Ridge or whatever, right? And you can have little descriptions on everything. Take the time to make a good post. You can use ChatGPT, but try to have it from your own words, right? Best thing that I've done is I will take my listing description, I will put that into ChatGPT so it has it, and then I'll voice to AI my opinion of the house, why I think it's super valuable with my own words. And then I'll say, hey, use my words in the listing description. I need 5 sub headlines for these 5 images, right? Because then it is going to sound more like you and it's not super generic. Post reel about the property if this is ready. When you get your listing video back, it's nice to get that out as quickly as you can. So again, once you have that, we want to get that out, and that's going to generate some good activity. Sending a just listed email to your seller clients, right? Send a link to listing and share folder with pictures and video. So clients are always, you got to think, emotions high, right? They signed with you to work with them. They're selling their house. They spent 2 weeks painting and cleaning and staging. They're just as excited to see the photos as you guys are, right? So when it's done, send them an email. Hey, here's a link to all the photos. The video's in here as well. Here's a link to the MLS description. So they've got it, right? Sometimes they might be like, well, can you add something in the description about this, or can you add this? Listen to them, modify it a little bit if they want it done, and then you know that you've taken care of them and they're ready to go. Now they're set up on showing time. You've got your lockbox up. Everything is ready to go in the house. You've got your showing instructions done. Your RPR is already on order. You've got all the upgrades in the house. Your media is ready to go. Like you're locked in. Like you haven't missed anything, right? You're ready to sell the house. Booking open houses for first weekend launch. So again, if we put those open houses in before we got it listed, those are going to get dripped out for Saturday or Sunday whenever you guys are going to do them. This is what most people skip, okay? Emily does a killer job of this. That's why she's getting clients. So when you get the open houses booked in, you could do a really half-ass open house, or you could do a really good open house, or you could do something in the middle. So the half-ass open house is I put it on MLS and I just let clients come to me, right? The middle open house would be I make a couple social media posts, I put it on MLS, I put all my signs out, maybe I show up 15 minutes early. The really, really good open house is doing some pre-activity before the open house, trying to drum up some buzz in the community. So we get the open house booked, we get our graphics out at least a few days so that clients have time and people have time to see it. I typically like to have that out as early as possible. It doesn't happen all the time. Like sometimes it goes out on Friday. It is what it is. But if we can get that post out on like a Tuesday or a Wednesday, it just gives more time for the public to see it and plan for it, right? Door knock around the community 1 to 2 days before open house to increase traffic and awareness. So it's super easy. Get one of our templated open house invites, right? Put the property details in there. Pick 100 doors, even 50 doors, and invite the neighbors over to the open house. Say, hey, you might not be looking to buy a new house. Obviously, this neighborhood's awesome, but come check it out. Maybe you have friends or family who this house might be perfect for. By the way, have you ever thought about selling? Like you can ask questions like that. And we've had 10 or 15 people come just from that. Like the open house would have been dead otherwise. Maybe there's 2 people who came from online or signs. 10 or 12 people come from the knocking. And those people that do come, they typically want to sell. Like they maybe not right now. It could be like a 12-month thing or a 6-month thing. There's a good chance those people that show up are serious or they have friends or family. So this is like optimizing the chance of us getting clients at an open house. And we're doing it on our own listing. And you could do this even if you're sitting someone else's listing. But again, we're optimizing traffic so that we get more at-bats at our open house, right? And more opportunity to sell the house. Some people think that you can't sell a house from an open house. I have double-ended many houses from open house buyers. I think I've done it like 8 or 10 times, which is really cool. Like you're bringing the buyer and getting it done. It does happen sometimes. Send email to prominent agents in the area to advise them of new listing and invite them to take a look and bring clients. So if there's agents who are doing a lot of volume in a certain neighborhood, you can personally reach out to them, right? Hey, I've got this listing coming up on 123 Main Street. Here's all the details. Come take a look. Again, this is like extra things that most people don't do. We want to be excellent. We want to do more than all the other agents are doing. You don't have to reach out to 50 agents. Maybe reach out to 4 or 5, right, that are selling in that neighborhood. And I'll tell you another quick story on this, on why this works and why you should do it. That tuxedo place that we just listed. So I got it signed, everything was ready to go. I realized that so I talked to Donna Lee, the stager. She said, hey, did you know I staged the other side of this duplex last year? I was like, no, who was it? She's like, oh, it's this guy. I'm like, oh, I didn't even see that because I was pulling comps from 3 months ago, not like 8 months ago. So I pull the old listing, I realize it didn't sell. So I called the agent. I'm like, hey man, I'm actually listing the other side. I saw you were listed at 1,039,000. How did it go? Why didn't you sell? It was on for 6 months. Did you have any issues? He's like, no, it sucks. It was a relocation company. Um, a week after we terminated our listing, I got a full price offer. And I'm like, what? Like for 1,039,000? He's like, yeah, but we couldn't sell it because it's a relocation company. And I was like, do you happen to know the agent who wrote that offer? Like maybe he still has clients. He's like, I think I could dig it up. He's like, hey man, it's Danny Green. He wrote the offer. I called Danny. I said, hey, we're listing the other side. Are your clients still looking? He's like, hell yeah. They came in the next day. They wrote a full price offer the next day, and now it's under contract. It's just from me making a couple phone calls, knowing that talking to agents and doing a deal. And we have not had one showing on that place yet. It's slow as hell. The open house was slow. We haven't had one showing. We would not sell it for 1,030,000. We probably would maybe get 990 if we let the open market continue. But we got 1,030,000 and it's under contract from 2 phone calls. So just think about stuff like that outside of the box because you have to do that in more challenging sellers markets. Okay. Okay, stories on Instagram should be shared daily about the property for at least the first 3 days and then weekly. So you don't sound redundant. On your stories, put different features every day, right? Here's why the floor plan is so good for a young family. Here's why this neighborhood is so good with this cafe and this park and this place over here. Here's why this house is good because, you've got elementary school over here and junior high school over here. So you can do that on your stories to, create some variety. The weekly seller update. So, are you guys all doing this to some degree? Yeah. Crystal, have you guys been doing that? Okay. I want to show you guys kind of the template that I've been doing. Okay, so this is a really tight way to do this. And you guys can modify it a little bit as you go. The key with this is like every single week you want to be giving them data and you want to be giving them feedback and you want to be giving them support. Okay. If we need to make price adjustments, this is the best way to do that because if you continue to repeat yourself every single week for a period of time, eventually people will kind of get the memo like, okay, it's not Lauren who's not selling the house. Like maybe we do need to adjust our price or maybe we do need to do this. Okay. So, hey, Alan and Kelly, we wanted to give you a wonderful Thanksgiving weekend. Here's the updated report showing the last 10 days of activity, including feedback and next steps. We've had 6 showings over the past 10 days. Good, strong activity for the listing. Here are some performance metrics. Here's the Realtor.ca stats. So I pull the Realtor.ca stats. You guys all have a Realtor.ca account. You can pull all history, 7 days, 30 days, 90 days. It'll show the views. It'll show if people have added it to their favorites, if they've added driving instructions, whatever. This is a very easy report to pull. It's free. We all have it. Okay. I'll also pull the matrix stats. Okay, so this is on your hit counter. So you can see on here, Berkeley, it's been sent out 1,488 times. It's been favorited 4 times. I'll just show them what this activity looks like so they can get a beat on that. Okay. Marketing video performance. So I'll show them what the views, the likes, the comments, the shares on any of our media assets have done. If we've done carousel posts or other things, I'll include them in our updates as well. So then they know like we're always working, like we're getting thousands of people to view the house. There's nothing wrong with the activity. We're getting showings. Other listings are selling in the neighborhood that are similar. What's left? It's price, right? So to be transparent, the overall feedback hasn't been ideal. Consistent theme from showings feels like the property needs too much work at the current price point. So this is really important. The property feels like it's too much work for the buyers at the current price point. If we just said the property feels like it's too much work, we're not giving them any context at its price. Everybody thinks their house is awesome, right? So we want to have that language. Whether that's due to perceived renovation or needs general updates. Currently, there are 7 comparable half duplexes in Beddington, Huntington Hills. Of those, 2 have sold and 5 remain active. Okay, so then I will give them the link of these properties. Here's the 7, right? These are the ones that are sold. These are the ones that are active. From a market perspective, conditions have slowed considerably. Many new listings are adjusting prices. There's been 822 new listings. 845 price reductions. My honest recommendation is that we get to 435. I expect the final sale price to fall between 420 and 425. I know this isn't news anyone hopes for, but I'm always here to give you truth. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so again, showing feedback, listing feedback, some data, some metrics. They know we're working. You know, if you don't talk to someone for 2 or 3 weeks and you show them nothing, they think you're doing nothing, right? So this is a good way to keep that cadence going. Okay, day 10, repost listing is available on social. So again, we can continue pushing social media on 3 amazing traits. So this is where most agents will go crazy in the first week and then they really taper off. So we have to think of how to be creative when something is going to sit for 30, 60, 90 days, right? We can relist properties. We can adjust some of the photos in the back end. We can change the listing right up. We can obviously modify the price. We can create different content around it. We could take our 60-minute reel that we did and we could turn into a 15-second reel. So we want to at least be doing one thing per week for our listings. If we could do two, for example, a carousel post and an open house, that would be good. And maybe we called 10 agents, right? Like that's a good thing to do. But we always need to be spending a little bit of time on each listing every single week so that we're moving the needle forward. Day 30, like we said, change highlight picture on MLS, rewrite the description, change order of pictures if it makes sense, discuss price corrections. I want to say something where never use the word price reduction. Never say that. It's always adjustment or correction. An adjustment means we're adjusting to what the market told us. A correction means that we're correcting based on data. When we say reduction, it just sounds like Crystal wants to take more of my equity. She's not selling my house for what I want it for. We're not reducing. Our house is better. Like we don't have to reduce. That neighbor's house sold for this one. Why should we reduce? When it's more like we're making an adjustment based on what the market is telling us. This is what's going on with showings. This is the feedback. We need to make an adjustment or a correction. Okay, so get that language down because it's important.
What about improvement? I see a lot of people saying improvement.
Mm-hmm.
Trigger, or is that a thumbs
Improvement's
up or a
also
thumbs
good.
down?
Yeah, I like
Okay.
improvement. Yeah, improvement,
Mhm.
adjustment, correction. These are all they serve the same purpose, but the language is received a bit better, right?
Okay. Yeah, because I usually use, yeah, let's do an improvement. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then it
And
trigger.
and sellers are always going to blame you guys, just so you know. Like it's always our fault. Like that's just the way it is. If you can always show that you're putting an effort and you're working and you have data to support it, it's not your fault. It's very hard for people to put blame on someone who gives them an update every week, tells them exactly what they're doing, tells them how many people have seen it, tells them where it's been marketing, how many open houses have happened, what showings have happened. We have clients on that Beddington place and they got a little bit spicy because it's been 40 days, but it's way overpriced. And I sent them a very well worded, stern email back. And I'm like, we're in this together. We've invested money into this too. It's not what we're doing. Like, it's not exposure. We've had 19 showings. We have one offer that's a low ball. It's just the condition. And it is what it is. And now they're happy as shit. They're like, we're so sorry. We know you guys are working. Like, we're just really stressed out about money. So, like, once you get past that and you have their trust, then the price adjustments are way easier to deal with, right? We're slashing the price, giving this thing away was something I saw on Instagram. Yeah. I mean, if it works, it works, right? If you have a massive price adjustment, you can get a little bit. And if the clients are okay with it, yeah, slash. Boost posts or run new ads. So again, we can put some ad spend behind some of our posts. If we have a post that's performing well on social, spend a little bit of money. If we make 10 grand on a listing, spend $50 to boost a post or spend $100 to boost a post. You can also boost it directly in Lofty or whatever CRM you're using. All the CRMs are going to automatically create a landing page in your CRM for the listing, and then they'll have like a little boost button behind it usually, and you can just put some ad spend to get some more traffic on that, which you can then send the report to the seller. Okay. And then day 60, repeat above to keep property front of mind. Consider further community open houses, realtor open houses, door knocking, online reach out. So one thing that I always do, it's a very old school thing that I learned a long time ago, is after 30 days on the market, terminate it, take it off for a couple days, get new paperwork signed, and then relist it. It just it brings it back fresh to market. You can update some of your photos at that point. I typically like to layer my price adjustment into the relist because then it brings it back. I'm changing everything at once. New description, photo rearrange, or maybe I send the photographer to do a few new exterior photos. I'm adjusting the price a little bit. I'm doing new media, not like new videos and stuff, but like new posts. So there's like 4 or 5 different levers that I'm pulling when I relist it, and that's usually a good way to get another burst of showings after it's been stale for a while. Okay. We did that with an Olds property. Agent had it listed for 70 days at 545, I think. No, 530. Yeah, I'll look. Anyway, it was say it was 540, sitting for 70 days, no showings. We took the listing over. We got our stager in there. We got them to paint a wall. We got them to clean some stuff up. Like not much, paint the back deck, like just a few extra things. Got all new media done. Made a price adjustment by like 8 grand, I think. Like nothing massive. Relisted it. We had an offer within 8 days, and it had been sitting for 70 days. So again, if we play with some of those variables, we can attract a buyer, okay? Even with something that's been sitting. think I think that's everything on the checklist. There's some more stuff post, but that's a lot of info. That covers a bunch. We just have a little bit of Q&A now. I know that was like a lot of info.
Oh, super good refresher, especially like just, we are kind of prepping for spring season. So we like a lot of people might have not known about that disclosure state form that needed to be signed. So I think that's really good.
Yeah, and now is a really good time to start, as you get into like December and January, it's a very good time to start signing listing agreements with sellers that want to list in the spring.
Yeah,
You guys have lots of time, right? Like time to renovate the bathrooms if they want to, or get the house painted, or start decluttering, like, couple month window until we get into spring. Ideally, you want to sign as many listings for spring as you can, and then you have inventory ready to list in the spring. You might have to adjust some of your pricing because it's in a couple months. It could be higher, it could be lower, but at least you've got a commitment that you've got a client ready to go in a few months, right?
and also like, prepping sellers for like, real property report, like, hey, that's going to take a little bit of time, like, let's get that done. Or when you're going through those questions, disclosures, right? Hey, if you can actually get these fixed, addressed, get your permits, everything done, like we don't need to have that, right?
Yeah.
So
And most people that want to sell their house, it's usually, unless it's one of the big things like death or marriage or birth, like some of those big activities, if someone's
mhm,
selling to upgrade or they've been thinking about it for a while, it usually takes about 12 months for sometimes longer. And then when they're ready, they're usually like, I'm ready to go right now because they're like mentally there. But if someone can
yeah,
be like, I want to do this in 2 or 3 months, which is sometimes hard, but if they can, it gives you guys so much more time to work with and prep everything properly, right?
totally.
I just thought of something. Where do you find, you were mentioning the real property report, like where do you find it if your client doesn't have it? You said that there was a company or like you had asked how to find it or whatever.
Yeah, so if they don't, most of them should have one when they bought the house. Sometimes if it's been a long time, they might not have one anymore. If it's in Calgary, and I think it'd be the same in Cochrane and Airdrie, if they don't have it, they can reach out to the municipality and see if there's one on record. Usually it's like very cheap to get one printed. I think it's like $50 or something, which is nice because it saves a bunch of money. If they don't have one on record, they're gonna have to get a survey company to get a new one. And in school, I think there's like 3 different survey companies. I'll usually uh, I'll usually expedite it for the client. So I'll email the survey company or a couple of them. You should always do like 2 or 3 so they can pick which one they want. I'll put the property address. I'll just say, hey, my client Crystal Tillotson at 123 Cochrane Street is looking to get a new real property report with compliance. Can you please give me back the quote? Here's the title, because they always need a title. So you send the title also. They'll kick you back a quote, get the client to agree to it, and then good to go.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And I'll actually show you guys. Let's see. Here's a live example. Hi Candice, please use this email as a client. This is like 3 days ago, so it's actually fresh. Our client Debbie Meyer, we're currently under contract with her home at McEwen and need an updated RPR. Closing date is November 28th, so we'll likely need a rush. Adam, can you please provide a copy of the title? Candice, can you please provide a quote and CC Debbie? So Candice gets back. This is Molly actually. So real property report 495 plus GST, 189 for compliance. We can do the submission for $50. We need a land title or we're going to charge you $15. We already have one, so I just help give that to them so the client can save $15. Current turnaround for survey and field work 8 to 10 business days, so it's pretty good. Rush is 5 to 6. Blah blah blah. Hey Molly, please see the title. So Adam sent the title right after. Debbie said, I'm not sure if this is going to the right person. I'd like to go ahead. I don't want to order it on their behalf. So she's like, can you just do it? I'm like, no, you need to email and say, hey, I want this because it's your money and your real property report. So she emailed back. We'll proceed with compliance and submission. We see the title in a separate email. Would you like us to rush it for an additional $125? She hasn't answered yet, but that's the cadence for getting an RPR. Cool. Any other questions? You guys are going to be listing pros, ready to rock? Don't be scared of listings in this market. I promise. Don't be scared of them. They will bring you lots of clients, especially in a down market. You get more leads on listings in a down market